This is the Netherlands, a country of windmills, tulips, and coffee shop. Many view the country as progressive and forward-thinking. The country's social security system is strong, with universal healthcare, retirement benefits, and maternity leave. These principles are also reflected in the Netherlands' high tax rates and extensive employee safeguards, which have led some to joke that it's impossible to be fired there. Is this a liberal paradise? If it weren't hiding a secret. Welcome to the Financial Flow. Please like and subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to stay up on our latest videos. According to the World Bank, this postcard-perfect country is the most unequal on Earth. South Africa has seen the modest wealth disparity in recent years. The Netherlands is the world's most unequal country. Politicians in the US are proposing similar policies to those in the Netherlands to reduce wealth disparity. According to the results, they won't do that. To understand this, we'll examine a few key issues. How did inequality spread to the Netherlands? How can this explain modern wealth? How may this help us establish robust, beneficial economic policies? Inequality is a curious thing. There are various ways to quantify it and metrics we use to understand it. Yet, outside of the numbers, it's a debatable problem. Last time we looked at inequality, we tried to objectively determine if it hampered long-term economic progress. We concluded that it could, depending on the number of circumstances and conditions. People take this matter seriously. It's a real issue that needs global government attention. But the key to capturing that attention is to understand what these decision makers will be looking at. Income inequality gets a lot of attention, with people rallying over how a CEO made 300 times the typical worker or whatever. Income inequality drives wealth inequality. People who earn more can save more, and their savings compound over time if well invested. But this should stop if earnings are more even. It should cut off the money building the wealth gap, right? Maybe, but that may need to withstand Dutch lessons. The Netherlands is similar to Sweden, Denmark, Finland, and Norway in that national social policies are robust and funded by high taxes. This is why all of these nations rank low on the World Bank's Income Inequality Index. Despite the obvious correlation between income and wealth, all of these nations have very high wealth disparity, though not to the extent of the Netherlands. Even Sweden, the poster child of democratic socialism, has higher wealth inequality than the US, Brazil, or India. What gives? How are rich people hoarding such a huge share of the nation's wealth, despite sharing in a comparatively modest portion of the nation's total income? To answer this topic, we must look at the least noticed side: disadvantaged households. Net worth can be negative, unlike income, which is always zero after taxes. Someone with enormous student loan obligations, no property, car, or savings may have a negative net worth. In the Netherlands, schooling is extensively subsidized, but people nevertheless take on other debt. They seek out larger debt through a mortgage. Most banks across the world want you to put in at least 20%, and at a bare minimum, 5%. So you have skin in the game and are more likely to pay back your mortgage. This means that if you own a home, even if you have a huge mortgage, you probably have a positive net worth because your house is worth more than the liability of the home loan. As long as you don't have additional debts or the property's value has declined, you should be in the green. In the Netherlands, borrowers can borrow up to and over 100% of their home's worth as a mortgage. The National Mortgage Guarantee is a government program that guarantees bank loans on homes. So if the borrower doesn't repay the bank and the bank can't make all the money it needs back from repossessing the home, the bank can get a check from the government for the difference, essentially making home loans risk-free. This is accelerated by tax-deductible Dutch mortgage payments. What that means is that if you make 100,000 euros in a year, but you are paying 40,000 euros in interest to the bank on your home loan, you would only pay tax as if you are earning 60,000 euros. This skews the influence of high taxes on our wealth inequality metric. If people can claim huge deductions on high earnings, by having large mortgages, then it doesn't really matter what the tax rate is because it can just be redirected towards establishing a real estate portfolio. People may borrow 110% of their home's value as mortgage until recently. That means a young couple with a 300,000 euro home may borrow an additional 30,000 euros and have a negative 30,000 euro net worth. This means that many people are underwater on their homes, which is okay. The Gini coefficient as a basic metric has this flaw. Even Dutch citizens with negative net worths have pleasant lives, but the numbers suggest this is a despotic dystopia, with peasants trying to survive under a rich dictator. This isn't true. Credit can be one of the biggest determinants of social mobility in an economy, but it can also accelerate wealth inequality beyond government control. The takeaway here is that negative net worth does not necessarily mean poor, but it does make figures look that way. Does this solve Dutch inequality? No. It's a factor, but not everything. Extreme wealth inequality may result from mature capitalism. The Netherlands was the first country where economists could say, this is modern capitalism. Yes, there were trade systems thousands of years ago, but most cultures still let rulers decide on productive capacity, not consumers. 400 years in the market creates severe wealth concentration. Does this mean capitalism will inevitably become more unequal? Well, yeah, probably. This effect will be less severe in countries that don't quite have this dynastic inheritance scheme, and a thing like the giving pledge amongst big-ticket billionaires will certainly make a difference. As we saw in the Netherlands, it's not the top 10 on Forbes who will affect these stats. It's the hundreds of other families that slide under the radar. Is this a problem? I'd rather be in the bottom 10% of the Netherlands than the bottom 10% of Ethiopia, which is a significantly more equal country by Gini coefficient criteria. In fact, I prefer to be on the top 10% of the Netherlands than the bottom 10% of Ethiopia. Inequality doesn't necessarily cause problems as long as egalitarian institutions are in place to ensure that everyone may rise up and that normal people's comfort, safety, and welfare aren't sacrificed. Few profits. This sentence seems to be angered both the left and right. The Netherlands has had a large economy with a GDP of $914 billion. 2019 GDP per capita is just around $60,000. What's more is that income is really dispersed, pretty evenly. It's inside the top 15 countries in the world for equal income, which makes the wealth inequality all the more interesting. Near perfect weekend stability and confidence. Any economy that's prospered for 400 years must be doing something right. Like most European nations, it hasn't made much progress since 2008 and the Eurozone crisis. The nation's industry has long been on the cutting edge of capitalism, and it's a center of modern financial services, utilized around the world. Overall, it is only dragged down by its growth, which is still extremely good. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Have a good one.